Hello and welcome to the Federal. Today we have with us in our studios author and writer P.A. Krishnan. Welcome to our studios. Today happens to be the 130th birth anniversary of India's first Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru. In the present times, we do keep seeing, especially on WhatsApp and on the internet, various theories, calumnies, and sometimes invectives about the first Prime Minister of India, Nehru. What's behind all this? What's happening? Who was Nehru, and what has happened to Nehru's name right now?
Yeah, first I will answer your second question. Who was Nehru? There is a Tirukkural which says, உள்ளுவதெல்லாம் உயிருள்ளல் மற்றது தள்ளினும் தள்ளாமை நீர்த்து. It means that one should aim big. Even if you don't get what you wanted to achieve, keep aiming big. This is the meaning of Tirukkural. Nehru about sums up Nehru's life is his years as Prime Minister sum up
17.
this Tirukkural. That was what Nehru. I don't think India would ever get a Prime Minister as precious as Nehru was. People could say anything. People are saying many things about Nehru. Most of them are contemptible lies. I will tell you why they are speaking like this about Nehru. Nehru is the antithesis of whatever these guys stand for today. It's not Gandhi, it's not any other leader of India. It is Jawaharlal Nehru. Jawaharlal Nehru represented an ideal which is exactly the opposite of what these persons stand for. That is why their hate for Nehru is coming from the from the very heart. I don't know from where they come from. That's why it's getting expressed in many ways. Okay, but Nehru has Toynbee, I think it is Toynbee who said, Nehru, he said, vultures are busy, with scavenging, and the scavengers are busy at work. Once they finish their scavenging work, Nehru will emerge great though human. That's what Toynbee said. Nehru's place in history is assured. No one can shake it. He is by far the best Prime Minister India has ever had. Had he not been there, India would not have been where it is now. These guys can say anything. That fact remains.
You do say that what the present people stand for is essentially antithesis of what Nehruvian thought is, if I could say. So, can we say things like the emphasis that somebody like Nehru made on shared heritage, or it was not an us and them kind of.
Exactly. Nehru did. I will come to the shared heritage a bit later. Nehru's most important contributions are this. Number one is, it was he who taught us what democracy is all about. When the first elections took place in this country, we didn't know how to conduct elections on such a grand scale. It had never been conducted anywhere in the world. It was the grandest experiment at that time. And it was largely due to Nehru and the officials, of course, who supported him. But the idea was his. He was the prime mover. He was the prime mover of that election, 1952 election, which taught the world what a real democracy, vibrant democracy is all about. I am not saying that the election was absolutely perfect or things happened, everything was, was fantastic. No. But it showed the world a country which was in the quagmire of ignorance. The people could come in droves and could vote in these elections. It was Nehru's contribution, which is one of the greatest contributions of mankind. In fact, mankind has ever seen. If you reflect, it has never happened before. The first time it was happening in the world's history. So many people coming and voting.
Universal suffrage, I mean.
Yeah, universal suffrage. It has never happened before. It has never happened before in the world. That we keep forgetting, and that is Nehru's primary contribution. I can keep on adding. How we built our industries, our scientific institutions, our education institutions. Everything is, if you see anything which is good in India, you can see Nehru's hand at it. See, you can't, you just can't, it's impossible for these pygmies to measure that person. Since they are pygmies, their standards are, they are like, the pygmy standards. So with that standard, they measure Nehru. No wonder, he is being pilloried all over.
Yeah, but what is in it for this Nehru bashing? Why is there so much of Nehru bashing?
Yeah, because Nehru stood for an India which is totally against this guy's idea of India. Okay, so Nehru, just a few days before Gandhi's death, he spoke in the Aligarh Muslim University. It's one of the most famous speeches. I think many of you would have heard the speech, but still, let me read a few lines from his speech. See, this is what Nehru says. You are Muslims and I am a Hindu. Nehru calls himself a Hindu. Underline this and tell your friends, this is what Nehru says, You are Muslims and I am a Hindu. That's what he says. We may adhere to different religious faiths or even to none. But that does not take away from that cultural inheritance that is yours as well as mine. The past holds us together. Or should the present or the future divide us in spirit? This is what he says. And he goes on. Whatever confusion the present may contain, in the future, India will be a land, as in the past, of many faiths, equally honored and respected, but of one national outlook, not a hope, a narrow nationalism living in its own shell, but rather the tolerant, creative nationalism which, believing in itself and the genius of its people, takes full part in the establishment of an international order. This is what Nehru says. He speaks about creative nationalism, not narrow nationalism. The guys who abuse Nehru today are living in a shell. They think that they are permanent, but they are not. Nehru will live forever. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having come to our studios and had shared a few thoughts on Nehru. I'm sure things would be as positive as the President Nehru did.
I am sure. India is big, the world is big. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You are watching The Federal.